Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and we are having one of those dreary fall days that are so nice for just staying inside. And I feel like I've definitely tried to slow down this past week just to make sure that I am recalibrating from our gala. And I will say I'm doing a great job. I feel so proud of myself for, just getting back on a routine. I feel like sometimes with events that we have planned, right, we can lose sight of our actual goals. It takes us out of the actual day-to-day, what we need to be doing. And so just coming back to, all right, what's our morning routine? What's our night routine? How do we want to spend the next couple weeks going into the holidays or going into Christmas? And I feel like for myself, I have tried to hold on to some of those routines that I've put into place before, but with travel or with holidays, it can take you out of your routine. Or if you have an event on a weekday, or if you are just running around, those things can be so exciting. But also it is a little bit of a sacrifice, even if it is a vacation or you're going to do something fun, still having the mindset of, okay, I'm not going to be in my typical environment. There's going to be external sources that are going to try and sway me from what I have been doing and what I need to be doing. So that is just a good summary of this week. I've just been trying really hard to wake up at the same time every day. I know that I talked about it a couple of weeks ago for daylight savings time and using it as a way to wake up earlier because my body was used to waking up at a certain time and keeping that certain time. So in reality, I gained an extra hour, and not just of sleep, but actual productivity. And then using that habit to then have other habits to stack upon them. But some days it's better than others. When it's raining like it is today and it's dark, it is a little bit harder to get up out of bed at 6 o'clock and be all right, we're starting our day, even though there could be time to lay in bed longer, but just having the extra time to myself. And then in retrospect, also for my nighttime routine and putting my phone away. I started reading a new book. I think I borrowed it from my mom. It's been on my bookshelf for a while now, but it is called, what's it called? Oh, Love at First Like. I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. I always forget book names when I'm reading it, especially if it's on my Kindle or my phone. Oh my gosh. A little bit of a yawn. That's what can I say? It's moody outside. I'm a little tired. And just a little side note, I did not realize how many milligrams are in a shot of caffeine, how many milligrams of caffeine are in a shot of espresso. And so when I Googled it this morning, for a double shot of espresso, it can be 200 to 300 milligrams. And I have a double shot every single day. So it's equivalent to a Celsius, right? And if I were to have my old habit of going to get a commercial coffee, and a venti is, I want to say 4 shots, or maybe it's 2 shots or 3 shots, whatever it is, that can be a lot of caffeine. And so just being really intentional with, I love the routine of coffee. I love having a coffee every single day, but also not having as much caffeine throughout my day, if you get what I'm saying, because I am working on my nighttime routine. I want to be able to go to bed at a specific time and wake up at the same time every day. And if I have caffeine that will impact that, that's not great, right? So the book I started reading is Love at First Like. I've had it on my bookshelf for a while. I have not picked it up. And last year I bought some books that were like Christmas themed, and I thought that I still had some Christmas themed books on the shelf that I haven't read yet, like Love, Holly. And I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Like a month ago, I saw it on the bookshelf. I was like, I will come back for you. And I pulled it off my shelf, read the first page, and I was like, I've read this before, and it's been too early to like reread it. Put that back on the shelf. And although Love at First Like is not a Christmas book, it is an easy novel. It's about like a girl who owns not an engagement store, but a jewelry store, and designs engagement rings. So it's lighthearted. It's fun. I've been reading like a chapter or two every single night, and that has definitely helped the wind down. I feel like there's been so much on social media lately that I've needed like a little bit of a break from it, and just making sure that I'm having the time away from my cell phone instead of just like constantly scrolling or being addicted to like the dopamine hits, and instead like finding other ways to use my time, whether it's actually like creating something or reading or working on my quilt or sourdough or going outside, going for a walk. And I've been loving reading at night. I will say I took a bath the other night. I was like, I used to take a bath like a lot. When I was in college, I lived with my dad, and he has like this super, super old farmhouse. There is just a tub in like the main room. There was only one bathroom when I lived there, and I had to take a bathtub every single time. There's no shower option. And it wasn't until we had been moved out for like over a year and a half, almost 2 years, he put a second bathroom upstairs with like a huge tiled shower. It's beautiful, but I'm like so jealous. Like, but I would take baths often, and there is something about the slowness of a bath. Like you have to wait for the bath to fill up. You have maybe your bubble bath or your little bath bomb or whatever, and you can set the scene. You can light candles. You can have aromatherapy. You can put your Epsom salt in there. You can grab a book. You can have a little beverage, and it's an experience, right? It's not the rush of a shower. And I had like I've been using this clear gloss. It's called Dr. Hue. I used it like probably 2 years ago, and I really liked it. I picked up another bottle just in preparation for my gala, but the bottle is like full. Like it's pretty big. You can use it more than once, but it will give you a gloss for 2 to 3 days. So yeah, I put my hair mask in, I'm soaking in the tub, and I took my book in there, and I went to like set my book down because it's all right. We got to rinse off. We got to do all the things. And I accidentally dripped water on it. I was so sad to have like the corners of my book wrinkle up. But I've also seen on social media a person who takes his or her books and completely gets them like sopping wet before using them. They like the crispy, they like the damaged part of a book, the used book look. And there's a couple of videos where he'd gone to a river and he was showing like how the book was closed, and they would just do like a dip or a full submerge or just the binding or like whatever it was, or just, I'm sorry, the part of the book where the pages are, not the binding, the opposite page, and like dip that in the water. So I'm trying to just say it's the aesthetic, but I was so sad that I dripped water on it. It's like, oh, you're kidding me. But it has been like a pretty good book just to like read, pick up, not really worry about anything. And it also gives me like the slowness to my routine, not necessarily watching a screen, but instead reading a book. So I have been liking the morning and the nighttime routine. It's been good to me. It's been nice. But let's get into the peak and the pit of today's episode. The peak of the week. Listen, I know it's early. I know it is early, but I pulled out my Christmas tree this past week. So I put away all of our fall decor, every single last little bit. I know we're like 40 days away from Christmas. Like there's a lot of days, and some people like pull their tree out on November 1st. I get it. I pulled out my tree, I'm going to say on November 11th. I pulled out the Christmas tree. I pulled out all of our Christmas decor. I put away the fall things, and my mindset is not like rushing into the holiday, right? Like I know that there's separation in November and December for me, but I have so much going on. Like this past weekend, I went to Austin, Texas for my sister-in-law's bachelorette. I will be traveling out of state during Thanksgiving. We have like our family Thanksgiving here, and then it's basically Christmas, and I just didn't want to be stressed. I find that it does take me a little bit to put everything away and pull it out, and I wanted to make sure that I was just being fully present and in the moment for like the other things. I hate coming back from travel and having like a lot to do, whether it's laundry or cleaning the house or my podcast or anything, honestly. Like I absolutely hate having like a really pressurizing to-do list. And so I really try to set myself up for the best case scenario. I'm like, all right, like our house is going to be clean. Thanksgiving stuff is already put away. We have the Christmas stuff out. I will say we did not decorate our Christmas tree. We just have the like tree out. It is lit up. We do have it rotating every single night. And there is something just so magical about like a lit Christmas tree in your house. For my family tradition, we always would go Christmas tree shopping the day after Thanksgiving. And so like in a way, it's not that early for me. I feel like Thanksgiving is kind of late this year, so it all works out. But you should have seen Garrett's face when I like pulled out the stuff. He was like out in a field or whatever, riding with us four-wheeler, like checking on a couple deer stands. And when he came back, I had the Christmas tree out, everything was put up, no more pumpkins, no more nothing. And he was like, oh, Christmas stuff, hey, like I had it out. I'm just like, I love fall, I love Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to take away from Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to take away from Christmas or take away from like the fall season, but I know that if I was trying to like get in the swing of things for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, it would stress me out, like to have to do it in such a quick turnaround. We also are traveling during the week of Christmas. We are headed to my sister-in-law's wedding, and I know that is going to take a lot of prep. Like we need to make sure that we have everything for the wedding. We have my dress, Garrett's suit, we have the shoes, we have the makeup, we have our luggage, and just like anything and everything that needs to go to Chicago. And then our dogs will be here, and we will have like a house sitter, and like all of those things take time, take energy. And we will be spending like 7 days, no, not 7, Christmas, 4 or 5 days in Chicago. And I just know, 1, it's the holidays, 2, we're traveling, and 3, it's a wedding. Like that is a triple threat for super stress. And I don't want to get in that mindset. I want to enjoy it. Like from last week's episode, I was talking about how when I am event planning, like I want to make sure that I can enjoy it and giving myself enough time. And I feel like pulling out my Christmas stuff is giving myself enough time where I'm in the mindset, where I am in the like energy to do those things. So I pulled out the Christmas stuff, and I kind of want to put the Christmas stuff away probably on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve, just because we'll be traveling and I don't want to come back to all the Christmas stuff and have to put it away. I don't know if I'll actually get away with that. Garrett does like having the Christmas stuff out like a couple days after Christmas. Totally understandable. My hard deadline is December 31st. December 30th. I don't really like it 31st. I want to wake up on January 1st. Our house is spick and span. It is so clean. We are welcoming the new year. We are done with Christmas, all the stuff. So I feel like my mindset and my year is just like accelerated in so many ways where I am celebrating having my Christmas tree out much earlier. And even like Thanksgiving stuff and the fall stuff. I feel like I didn't get to enjoy it as much. There was like a couple pumpkins out and it was like, oh, it's so sad. Like I got the ceramic pumpkin. It's so cute. And traditionally, like I would have been able to keep that out until Thanksgiving, or even like I have this little ceramic turkey and it is so cute, but we're not hosting Thanksgiving this year. Like my aunt is hosting Thanksgiving. Garrett's aunt is hosting like his family Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving at my mom's house. So like all the bases are covered with Thanksgiving and nobody is coming to our house to see the Thanksgiving. So it's like, okay, what's the point? Just Garrett and I, we can celebrate Christmas. We can pull out the things and I just don't want to be rushed. Like seriously, I do my best under pressure, but I like to have the time to actually do it because it doesn't cause panic. I can do like really good work and also like kind of like, I don't know, like not stress out, like not lose sleep over it. I can add extra things when I'm done early. Like I always think for a special day. Oh, I'm going to record some content. I'm going to get my vlog stuff. I'm going to record a TikTok. But if I don't have enough time, if I have too much on my plate, then I'm unable to do like the extra stuff. So if I plan well in advance, if I get the stuff that needs to be done quicker, then I'm just like in a way better mindset. And I'm like, all right, we have time to add the extra, add the glitter, add the things that are not unnecessary, but in addition, something that's fun and just for me. So Christmas stuff was pulled out. I know it's a little early, but in so many ways, it's going to be the best for my mental health. They also say people who pull out their Christmas stuff early are the most happiest. Like, and even if they like hold the stuff for after Thanksgiving, like have it all out or after Christmas, they're the happiest. So listen, what can I say? I'm just a happy person. So Christmas stuff is out. It's in our house, good or bad. The tree, it's up. Now, my peak was the Christmas tree, having Christmas stuff out. My pit of the week is the dark. Okay. It is getting so dark out early, right? Like I start driving to teach one of my yoga classes right at 5:00 and it is starting to get dark. Like it is dark by the time I get to my yoga class. It's just not the vibe, right? And then I'm driving back home in the dark. I know people like when I used to like drive to work, driving in the dark, like getting to work and then coming home in the dark is not good for your mental health. It is so horrible to like just not feel like you have an evening, not feel like you have a morning, and just it kind of all runs together. So in some ways, like I'm working on my morning and nighttime routine, but also like I am trying to get light. So the pit is being so dark outside all the time, but there are a couple ways I am combating it. So in our bedroom, we have lamps with red light bulbs. They say red light bulbs is so good when you are winding down for bed because it does not have the, what is it? Not melancholy. What the heck? Not melatonin. Okay. So when you look at blue light, when you are looking at your cell phone or your computer or your TV, there is blue light that is coming from the screen, and that will reduce the melatonin in your body. And you might be thinking melatonin is something you buy at the grocery store. That is a synthetic melatonin. You naturally produce melatonin in your body, and it's when you're supplementing at the health food store because you're not making enough, and the blue light will reduce it. So having red light in the bedroom can be really well to help your body like get ready for bed and start to wind down. It's also like a softer light. And for me, I immediately, like when I wake up, my first response is to grab my phone because I'm shutting off my alarm. And you can have a Hatch alarm clock, or you can have a different alarm clock. I like, power to you. Mine is my phone, and I will shut off my phone. And sometimes when you like turn off your sleep mode, then you'll get a whole bunch of like your notifications, right? Like your emails and your texts or notifications from social media. And so I try really hard to just like flip it back over. But if I just lay in bed, I could fall back asleep, right? Like I could just go back to sleep. So I can turn on the red light in the morning to give me a better transition from, okay, it's pitch dark in my bedroom, to there's a little bit of red light, to going into the bathroom, turning on the overhead light, to brush my teeth, put my contacts in. And it gives like a better transition, because I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, and I have 4 other siblings in the house, and if we had to wake up a sibling, we would like go into the bedroom, flick on the light and be like, get up, you know, like in the most rudest way possible. That triggers the fight in me, like fight or flight. It is triggered. Okay, so do not flick the lights on me when I'm sleeping, because that just takes me back to childhood, and it's the worst feeling ever. I want a slow transition. I want to come out of bed like with ease and not spiking my cortisol levels, and just like coming at it from a very lovely, nice way. So I will turn on the little red light. I will start to like stretch, you know, wiggle my toes, wiggle my fingers, convince myself it's time to get up, and then go into the bathroom to turn on like the regular light. So that's been a way that just getting to sleep quicker by having the red light on, having a better night's sleep, getting into bed earlier, just so that I can get my sleep in, and then I'm not like so dead tired when I wake up. And then having the red light as a nice transition to like regular light. The other thing is I have been going into oh my gosh, it's called like a beauty enhancer, but I hate the name for it. It is essentially like bright red lights. And I've been going inside of it first thing for 12 minutes. As soon as I wake up, it's at one of the gyms, and I've been going in it and just like, I'll put my earpods in, and I will just start to blast myself with these super, super bright lights. I guess I could also do it with like my studio lights, but they're white. They're not red lights. So that's another thing that I've been doing, just like trying to get as much artificial light as possible before the sun comes up. Now, when the sun comes up, I'm going to go outside. I want to go for a walk. I want to breathe the fresh air and get like the light, because it will help burn off a chemical in your body. I don't think it's melatonin. I think it's a different chemical, but essentially like it will help naturally reduce that. So you are feeling energized, you are feeling awake, and can like start doing the other things in your day. So I've been just artificial and natural light to get me up, and to also help like have a day, have a morning, have an evening, instead of just like, oh, the day is so short. And speaking of red light, so I had a couple red lights when we were raising hogs, like a couple of years ago. We would have little piglets, and so the piglets would, obviously want to be warm, so we would hang heat lights over them so that they could stay warm like into the winter. And of course they had hay, they had shelter, they have all the things, but we would also have the red lamp. We have not had hogs for a very long time, but I still know that we had the red lamp. And also there's a little like runt piglet that I had picked up. And so I actually had a piglet in the house, and the red lamp like over it to help keep it warm. So this lamp was like still at my dad's house, and I went and found it. I was like, okay, red lamp. Like they say red light therapy is so good for you, so good for just like waking up your system, so good for internal healing, like with the rays in it or whatever. So it was like perfect. I have my yoga mat set up in my office, and I do yoga in the morning. So I'm going to have the red lamp hooked up in front of my mat. So I'm getting red light therapy, and it's just like a heat lamp, like it's a chicken heat lamp. But I was doing some research, and it essentially like is the same thing as like those light masks or like those huge full body machines. And this is something I already have. It's also like a heat lamp, so it heats up. I hate being cold in the winter. I despise it. It is one of the worst things. And it causes me to like want to stay in bed longer or want to stay in the hot shower longer. And I have been working on just like keeping my body warm. I've been supplementing with iodine. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about using just iodine from the grocery store and putting a little square patch. I cannot tell you, it's crazy how I feel energized. Like, we are going into the week of my period. I've been doing this probably for 3 weeks now. The mental clarity is insane. And also, like, normally I would feel like really, really tired. I know I yawned at the beginning of this episode, but like normally during this time I would feel kind of tired, really cold, and I don't know if it's a placebo. I don't think it is. I think this iodine is really, really helping me. I always put it on like the upper part of my arm, and then it's either before bed or right when I wake up, and I just put it on. I don't notice how quickly it like goes away. I know I did it this morning. It's still there. So I have like a little patch on my arm. It's still there. So I know my iodine levels are like rising, like they're a little bit better. I think I've had this on for 3 hours. So, it hasn't been like too long. They say if it disappears within the first hour, like you're really low on iodine, but it's still there. So I'm not so low, but I'm putting this on every single day, a little patch of iodine. I kid you not. Like, I seriously, it's been crazy. It works so well. Again, do your own research, but maybe a little bit of iodine can help you and your energy levels and the like feeling warm. But I've been using it and I really, really like it. And I have my little red lamp set up. So just doing these things it's helping me combat the shorter days, the more cold, the lack of sunshine. And it's funny because these little chicken light lamps these heat lamps are used for chickens. So chickens will stop laying eggs in the winter because of the shorter hours. They need like so many hours of sunlight in order to produce eggs. So people will put like heat lamps in their chicken coops to help the chickens like reset to like a better like rhythm, circadian rhythm. And they'll be able to like lay eggs in the winter. They have like adequate amounts of sunlight with the heat lamps. So I think that's really cool. And I feel like I'm doing that myself. Like, I'm a little chicken. Like, I need my artificial light. I need my red light. I need to, just be helping myself in a way that is impactful because winter is my planning period. Winter is the time where I am focusing my energy to be productive, to plan things. And if I'm not feeling good, if I am not feeling like I have the energy, then it can be really easy to just like rot on the couch and watch Christmas movies. And I love Christmas movies. I do. Like, I want to watch TV. I want to like hang out on the couch, but there's something to be said about after you like get work completed, after you do what's been on your list, and then you're able to relax, like it feels so much better. You feel like you earned it in a way, and it's so, so much sweeter. So I like doing what I'm supposed to be doing, not having the procrastination brain of, all right, like I should be doing this, but I don't have the energy. I don't feel like I can actually accomplish it or actually do it because I'm tired or I don't have the motivation or my toes are throbbing because it's so cold. So it's like, the past week, actually the past month, like I think it's important to have goals and So I'm not going to say like I haven't been sticking with them, but again, like the gala took so much of my time, and just being able to frame it in a way that's like, all right, now we get back on track. Now we dial in and we do what we're supposed to do. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that the Golden Hour Drip podcast has a monthly newsletter. You'll find podcast updates, upcoming events and information, and bonus content. If you haven't already, click the link in the show notes and join today. Now, back to the show. And with all that's to say, it just makes me go back to my peak of the week, which was putting our Christmas tree out. It's hard out there. Okay, days are shorter. We are all having this like stress around the holidays, whether it's people you're going to see or buying all the gifts or cleaning your house or running to like all different directions, making sure you have time for family, make sure you have time for friends. And who cares if you pull out your tree a little early? Maybe it's to get the artificial light. Maybe it's to have a little joy, have a little happiness. You know what I'm saying? So this week has just been like really focused on putting in place the amount of light that I need, putting in place routines, getting back onto the grind, because I feel like for the past few months, I have just been so like focused on the gala and just using the next month and a half to my advantage and like really looking and focusing on like my goals. I always like when I'm goal planning or thinking about what I want to be doing in the next 6 months or next year, I always think back to what I've accomplished, right? And if you ever make like vision boards or have intentions for yourself, like I think back to the things that I had goals for last year and what I put on my list and how I modeled my life around like what I wanted to achieve, because the best way is to work backwards from your goal. So if you have like an intention or a dream, like what do you need to do in order to achieve it? Who do you have to become in order to receive it? And I like to think back to previous instances where I have worked really hard or created a dream board, and then I set up the goals in line with the dream board, and then looking back on that thing and seeing how I have accomplished it. Or maybe if it was a goal that wasn't really prioritized and seeing how I left it on the back burner, like having that uncomfortability of, oh shoot, like I should have worked on that. Now I'm in the same spot as last year and I need to get back on track. I need to work hard to achieve that goal or whatever, right? And I was thinking back to some of the ways that I've shown up previously. And I think back to my old TikTok. I used to post a video every single day in my kitchen, and I would have a beverage. I'd make myself a little drink, and I would talk about a quote. It was like quote of the day. I'd read off a quote, and then I'd say how it was like impacted me in whichever which way. And I look back at these videos and I cringe. I'm like, oh my gosh, like one was, 4 years younger, and I look at my style, or I look at some of the decor I had in my house or what I was focused on or what I was doing. And you can't help but always like just look back and cringe a little bit. But I think about the courage and the confidence that I had to do that thing and to show up, even if it wasn't like perfect, even if it wasn't extremely polished or it wasn't what I saw other people doing. And it made me think like, what changed? Like what changes from like posting on Instagram. I used to post on Instagram all the time, and now I feel weird like posting on Instagram because I think, oh gosh, like, am I bringing any sort of substance? Like, what are they learning from my post? Is it just a photo that I liked, or like what do I want them to gather from the photo? And I'm much more apt to like post on a story than to actually post on my feed. And I was trying to ask myself, like, why is this? I was also editing a vlog, and I was working like pretty hard. Vlogging can be difficult, right? Like you have to film yourself doing something, right? If you're doing a vlog, if you are doing how to bake a cake or whatever you're doing in your vlog, you have to record the content, and then you have to edit the content, export and upload the content. I always make sure to watch before I post, just to make sure that I didn't edit anything wrong. I will edit in multiple days. And if you've ever edited before, it takes like a lot of time, a lot of effort, and you can forget what you've already done or said in the video. So I like to watch it one more time right before I upload, right before I post. That way I know exactly what's in the video, making sure it's coming across, making sure I didn't leave any like clips in there that was wrong, or sometimes I've had it where it's double. I've done this actually like twice. I don't know how it happens, but like where I will add a clip more than once and then be trying to like segment it, because there can be some downtime where I'm just like staring at a bowl of rice or whatever, like where you need to like cut it out. And I have done it before where I've edited 2 clips twice in a different way, but it like repeated itself, and just thought to myself, oh my gosh, like it has repeated itself. I am going to need to have to cut this out, right? So I always rewatch it. And I've spent a lot of energy on this vlog, right? Like I recorded it. It took me like 2 days to record. I've edited. That's taken me like a week, because I had almost like 2 weeks because I had so much going on. And I go to watch it and I think, oh, like I started just to like tear myself apart. I was like, oh, that's so dumb. Or you said that weird, or what is that outfit? Or, oh my gosh, like how cringe, right? Like I started having this like little voice in my head telling me every single thing, every little insecurity about myself, and how, you know, it wasn't even worth it to post it. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like I just spent so much time, and here I am going to just like rip myself apart and not even post it. And in so many ways, I think to myself, like, why? Like, why do I care if somebody looks at it and thinks, oh, you know, I don't like this, or that frame was weird, or she looks weird, or it, you know, like any of those things. Because I think it can be very hard to watch yourself. It can be hard seeing yourself on camera. And I don't know why, but it was hard for me to watch. And normally I can have some sort of separation between like myself and what I'm watching and what I'm editing. But it can be like hard on your brain, or hard on like your confidence. And I just kept going back to how I was at a different stage in my life. And while like there could have been like different circumstances, I want to say I just had like blatant confidence. Like I just posted it. I didn't really care what other people thought, or like my self-confidence was like much higher. And I came across this creator on TikTok, and the video was definitely weird to an aspect. She was doing it in a way I think was like definitely satire, but then I don't know if it was actually satire. But she was posting, I like went and checked out her profile, and she was like, did not care at all, was just like posting what she wanted to post. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this person has so much confidence and is just doing it because she wants to do it. And there's so many people out there, right, that might not align with what you want to do, or you might see them and think, oh, that's so silly, or nobody will want to like or listen or do any of those things. And yet they like find their own audience. They find the people who are for them. And for myself, I was like, gosh, I need to get over myself. Nobody actually cares that much. I referenced this girl on TikTok who was like posting what she wanted to post because it made like a real impact on me. But if I think back to the amount of videos that I've watched and have just like scrolled by and didn't think about them ever again until like, of course, they came back on my Explorer For You page, but really and truly, like, nobody cares as much as you do. Nobody will think about it as long as you do. And when we have like things that pop up and we're like, oh my gosh, like I look so cringe in this video, or I said this weird or whatever, like people might think, oh, that was weird to say, but it doesn't stay with them as long. We are always our worst critic, where we just think to ourselves like, oh my gosh, like you should be doing better, or we compare ourselves to someone else we watch or someone else who is showing up in a way, but that person also could be like, oh, like I wish I was showing up as someone else. And so confidence really comes down to like your own personal idea of the confidence and how you should be showing up. And I was just really thinking about my goals and who I'm actually going to have to become to achieve those goals. And I don't mean that by like wearing a specific style or being a certain size or having my hair a certain way, but it's like the inside part. If I want to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, I have to stop putting other people's opinion so much higher over my own opinion, if that makes sense. Like the person who is consistently posting every single day, they're not worried about what other people think. There's a saying about every business owner who has had any sort of success will not make fun of you for trying something new that you've never tried before. They will they will support you in that way because they knew what it took to start when they started, and the courage and how hard it is. Like no business owner with success will make fun of you for starting. Same goes for like influencers. Like nobody will make fun of you who has any sort of success for starting because they had to start somewhere as well. It's just crazy because some of the people with the loudest opinion are not actually doing anything themselves. They're not trying to be better. They're not trying to, show up every day by posting, because the people who are successful, the people who are trying every single day to develop into that higher version of themselves or the person that they want to be, they don't have the time to tear other people down. They're not thinking about you. They are working on themselves and working on the next goal that they have. So the thought that you can't show up in a certain way or you can't do a certain thing because how other people are going to perceive you is just literally a waste of time. And although it can be scary, right? Like it can be scary to show up. It can be scary to pursue your goals or to share with someone about what your goals are. Like there are so many times where someone asks me like, what do you want to do? Like what are your goals for this thing? And I can get scared to share that. I can be like, oh, like, well, even now, like, I don't want to share with you. Like, I'm sorry, friend, but like it's intimate. It's hard. If you lay all of your goals out on the line, like it can be very like, it's just scary. It's an intimate thing because if you set out those goals, if you say those goals, like, hey, I want to one day build a huge house on acres of land and like make sourdough every single day. That could be like a scary goal if you live in a 1-bedroom apartment and you've never made sourdough in your life, never been on a farm, right? Like it can be scary because then it puts a pressure like, oh gosh, like I actually might have to grow up. I might actually have to push myself. I might actually have to like post on social media or get a new job or work harder, or post every day or whatever it is. And like, it can be scary. It can be so scary. Like, let me tell you, there's so many times where I've like looked back and thought, oh my gosh, like how did I do it? Like I cringe about it, but I'm so impressed that I was able to just post and have that confidence or make the content every single day. And it has me like in this mindset where I just want to challenge myself. I want to show up in a way that I might not have had or I haven't shown up in the past. And so it's like, all right, like we got to get in the mindset. We have to think to ourselves, like, how are we going to make this happen? How are we going to be consistent? How will we mark off our goals? What goals are we actually even focusing on this month? Because sometimes it can be busy. You can have the holidays come up and you're like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But ultimately it just comes down to public perception and the mindset of, oh my gosh, like people are going to see me and they might not like what they see. They might have an opinion on how I show up or my thoughts or my feelings or any of those things. And the best thing to do is to build a wall around those opinions and just think to yourself, like, I know what I'm doing is important. I know what I'm doing is impactful and is rewarding by itself, right? Like just being able to do it no matter anybody else's opinion can be really empowering. So for myself, I'm just challenging me on how I can show up differently, how I can be chasing after my goals, chasing after my passions, and not afraid of what other people think, or afraid that I'm posting too much, or afraid that I'm sharing something, or how I look on a vlog. Because let me tell you, like, there is a certain part where I am like turned to the side and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's how I look. Like I hate that. Like, and wanting to literally cut it out. For how I edit my vlogs, like it doesn't take too long to export it from Premiere Pro, but uploading it to YouTube can take like in a couple hours. And if my computer goes to sleep, if the screen like, shuts off, then it will pause it. And so I can come back and it'll be like hours later and my screen is dark and it's at 7%. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's been 4 hours. So, it's hard to like want to redo a section. Like even if I really, really want to redo it, I know the time is not worth it because people will literally look at something, look at the content. And even if they see it and they want to make fun of you for a while, let's say they like post it on a burn account or they post it on social media or they share to the group chat or whatever, like the world is so dynamic and there's so much happening on social media and the constant like content. So if someone like wants to make fun of you about something, give it a couple days and there will be another thing to make fun of. Let's real quick talk about James Charles. Love him or hate him, James Charles was or is, he's a makeup artist, but he was kind of in like the 2017 era of makeup videos. And I remember James getting absolutely roasted and just like laid out to dry. Like people were so brutal. There was the sugar bear scandal or gummy bear hair scandal, like with Tati and just like a million trillion things. If you were on makeup, YouTube at the time, like, exactly what I'm talking about. Or what was it? Flashback Mary, where he had taken a photo and his face was like bright white. Like these are several things that the internet truly trolled him about. Okay. And even me, like it made an imprint on my mind. If I know about those things, I like can bring them up, right? James does not let that stop him. He has just came out with a painted, not vault, but it's like this huge new or next launch. It's a new like product launch. Essentially, it's like blushes, a makeup palette. Amazing. He's been coming up on my For You page, and he also just released a song. It's so catchy. It's like, Remember When You Used to Love Me? Oh, I love it. And his campfire version, so cute. I'm obsessed. But James is such a good representation of the internet. Is going to say so many things about you. They're going to try and tear you down. You have to know who you are, and you have to continuously show up as the person that you want to be, and have just like a strong hold on your own character, because you know who you are. And he hasn't let that stop him. He's still creative. He's coming up with ideas. He's launching his brands. He has his music. Like, there's so much to learn about James Charles, and there's so many other creators just like him. Like, the internet will have this filtered version of who you are, or even people in your community. Maybe it's someone in your class. Maybe it's a side of your family, or people at your school, or whatever it is. Like, people are going to have a version of you in their head, but guess what? Every single person has a different version of you in their head. So if I have an interaction with someone, it's like a great interaction. I'm so like, I'm on a high vibe. Things are going my way, and I'm really friendly. And I'm like, hey, like, how's it going? They're going to have a version of me in their head. The next day I could be kind of like in a grumpy mood. Someone cuts me off and, I'm grumpier. Someone has an interaction with me and they think, oh my gosh, like, she is so rude. Those are two different versions, but only one me, right? And everybody is going to have their own experiences with you, their own thoughts around you. So really and truly, the opinion of others is such like a small thing. Like, you need to have a positive mindset about yourself, and you need to think that you're a good person, and you need to think that your content is valuable. You need to think what you are bringing to this world is important and is impactful, not what other people think. You have to keep it on the same level. A like and a dislike are both irrelevant to you. You want to still show up in the best version of yourself. And if you find happiness with it, then it is like a happy thing. And when you boil it down to that of, okay, like, the only person I need to be making happy is myself. Yep. Sounds good in theory. I can talk about it all day long, but you have to put it into practice, and all good things are hard. Like, you have to really make sure that it's worth it to you. You have to make sure that this is something that you want to pursue, and it's going to be hard. No matter your dream, no matter what you are actually wanting to do, it's going to be difficult in so many different ways, because you are chasing after this thing. You are wanting it to be like this great experience. And that's hard. It's hard to put in action. I can dream up my routines. I can dream up my day, my night. And there's going to be some days where I absolutely hit it. I'm going to be so proud of myself. I'm going to be like, oh, I'm getting stuff done. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then there's going to be days where I'm thrown off track, or I'm not having like the best mental day. And you still have to show up. You still have to put your pants on, put your boots on, like, and still get to work. And like, it's not always easy. Trust me. Like, I know it's not always easy, but if you really, really want to pursue it, then you absolutely should. So for me, like, I'm just in this mindset the next month and a half. Like, what can I do with this runway? What can I do with this? What is it going to be, like 15 days left in November, and then, well, a little less, and then we have, but there's 31 days in December. Let's say 45 days, 46, 45, 47, I don't know, a few days left of the year, a few weeks left. What are you going to do with them? What do you want to pursue? if you block out all the noise, if you block out other people's opinion, what they think about you, how you should be showing up or what you're not doing, like, what would you do if you couldn't fail? What would you do if everybody like did not give you any sort of negative feedback, right? Like positive feedback is always nice, but if you hold that in such high regard where it's like the only thing that you're pursuing, that's when you like fall off track and you're not being authentic, because if there's a part of you that might not be agreeable to like someone else, then you might like hide it away. So I am just on this gravy train of making sure that the things that I want to do and how I'm spending my time are, one, authentic to what I want, but also I'm not going to allow someone else's opinion of me hold me back. Like confidence is such a nice thing to talk about, right? Like, oh, she has so much confidence, or she like has an aura around her that is just so positive and upbeat. Like I want to be just like her. Confidence is knowing that if you promise yourself you're going to do something, you actually do it, because you have the confidence in yourself that if you say you're going to do something, you do it. So if you sign up to give a speech, you know, when speech day comes around, you're going to be able to stand up and give a speech, right? Confidently, beautifully. Doesn't matter if you're scared, doesn't matter if you're having a bad day, you promised yourself you were going to do it, so you're going to do it. Or you have a goal where you are going to post every single day on social media, and so you do it. Or you want to avoid purchasing processed food, you're going to cook yourself lunch and dinner every single day, and you do it. I don't know, like it's easy in theory, but again, like it is so hard. But if you boil it down to like, what do you actually need to do? It can be much simpler in that mindset. So for me, my deadline is actually like the 1st January. So if we're thinking about the months, I like to think of my goals month to month. But even thinking of it of like, okay, second half of November, we have December, we have January. I like to plan it out on like celebrations and things that I'm looking forward to. So all the work that I put in September, October. What is the month? Oh my gosh. August to September to October to November. So I had 2.5 months for the Golden Gala. The entire time I was like, head down, got to get my website up, got to get advertisements up, got to have my social media, got to be reaching out, doing all those things. And then my celebration was the gala. Now I have a month and a half for Riley's wedding. And so like my mindset is like, all right, we have Riley's wedding. What can I do with my goals? The next one is I have this cozy gal weekend in January. And for me, the first of the year is so important. Everybody wants to work on their goals. Everybody wants to do the thing. For me, I want to be like, there are 3 goals that I want to accomplish by January. I think the weekend's like January 26th. So the last weekend in January. I know the first week of January is so important to so many people, but I want to have really demolished some of my goals in December and January. And I want to have that last week of January, that little celebration with my gals, the cozy gal weekend. I want it to be a celebration. I want it to be like this relaxing time. Like I did what I was supposed to do, and now we can be cozy. Now we can celebrate. Now we can really enjoy the time that we have together. So make a little, like, not benchmark. What's it called? A little ribbon at the end. Make your goal like not January 1st. Your end goal, what's it called when you're running a race and you're at the end? I cannot think of it. Not whatever. I don't know. Okay. Imagine yourself as a runner. You're getting to the end, to the ribbon. Where is that end game? I don't know. What is that thing that you're wanting to achieve? What the heck? Finish line. Oh my gosh. Make a finish line. Okay. Pick your finish line. When is it going to be? For me, I want a head start on my goals. I don't want to wait when everybody else is starting on their goals. I want to do my goals before them. So how can I do that? I'm going to start today. Well, I started in November. And so thinking about, all right, I have 2 months to work on the goals, show up in the way that I want to show up, build confidence in a way that I want to build confidence. And I've shortened my timeline. I've shortened the time that I want to achieve it, because most of the people, they think, oh, January 1, I'm going to have my goals for the entire next year. No, I don't want to wait 365 days and my finish line be December 31st, 2025. My finish line for the first part of my goals is going to be January 26th. Okay. Like I have multiple goals and multiple deadlines, but don't worry. We'll get more into this in upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for watching. If you want me to talk about something, go to YouTube, watch our visual podcast, and drop in the comments like what you want to learn about goal making, or like preparing for the new year, or building confidence was like today, whatever it is, let me know.